I'm Candace.
And I'm Ripley.
And I'm John!
You're in a well. You're at the bottom of a well.
Help me! Help me! It's so dark!
But what about the Amontillado?
No!
And this is Comicsplaining.
Yeah, the show where we brought an Elton John impersonator to Pride. Yeah, we went down earlier today to Motor City Pride, and there was a lot of companies. Nothing like showing up to a Pride parade and having AAA remind you that they sell life insurance.
Right.
Remember that one day you too will die.
My
Indeed.
bank was there! My car insurance was there!
Same.
Why? Why?
My bank was also there. My car insurance is not an ally.
No.
And
No, but the bank that financed my car is Ally.
Right.
And they're called Allies.
They had no
so-
option but to show up, practically.
Exactly.
well, they had an option.
The cops. We need to talk about the cops
The
at
cops.
Pride. So the cops did show up at Pride
Obviously.
to deafening silence.
Yeah.
Everybody else was getting wooed. Bank of America was getting wooed. GE was getting wooed. Random groups of people just walking together were getting wooed. And then the fucking cops roll up and it's just dead
The cops
silent.
rolled by, they had their windows open, they were waving, and they were holding
the
flags and
flags.
stuff.
And it might as well have been crickets out there.
It was incredible.
Dead fucking silence. And I almost halfway felt bad for them. Because
They knew it. They knew they weren't wanted. You could tell. You could tell.
just from being another person, the idea of being that
I
uncomfortable
know.
is so
But
uncomfortable.
But the fact is, they can stop being cops at any time.
They didn't need to show up at Pride as cops.
Mm-hmm. They could show up as Delta Airlines.
Oh my god, Delta Airlines. So you sleep on companies coming to Pride, but Delta Airlines had gay stewardesses and stewards handing out peanuts.
I literally got Delta Airlines food.
And they had the fucking snack cart.
They did.
They had two of them.
It was fucking incredible.
It was amazing.
Top 5 moments of Pride. But the Elton John impersonator, so we're sitting here watching the big three, because that's a big deal around here. FCA, GM, and Ford. And FCA showed up, and they just had, like, rainbow grills on their Jeeps, which, like, admittedly was cool, but didn't blow my socks out of the water. Then Ford comes along, and they brought, like, a fucking Ford GT, which, like, fucking amazing. But even beyond that, they also brought this big gay Bronco that
Yeah.
was painted. And I was like, holy shit, Ford had an alright showing.
Though-
Then fucking GM rolls onto the scene.
I do think the Bronco may have just been wrapped, not painted.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll come back off, but it looked fucking boss.
It
Fair.
did. It looked awesome.
The GM rolls onto the scene with, like, a quarter-mile long procession, including cars, a fucking marching band that danced along with the marching,
Yes.
Yes.
a long snake rainbow flag snake. I have no other word because it's just
Yeah.
like a worm flag.
Yeah,
The
it was
longest
just really
flag
long.
I have ever seen.
And then they roll up with a golf cart with an Elton John impersonator on the back.
Escorted by people dressed as...
As the
That's
Queen's
the Queen's
guard.
guard. So Pride was really fun.
It was excellent.
This was my first time, and I don't know if this is normal.
Well, usually there's not as many weird, huge gaps.
Yeah.
There needs to be more music, because honestly, how are you gonna go, if you're driving a car in a parade, why are you not just gonna crank the fucking stereo at least?
What is a parade without music other than lonely people slowly driving down a road? Or walking? on the
GM
road?
gets it.
Yeah, that's why you bring a marching band.
Yes.
Delta Airlines knew what was up.
Yeah.
Bank of America didn't even have a fucking rainbow flag on their banner.
No,
No.
of course not.
They handed out really bad merch, so really bad swag.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not actually here to, well, we are here to talk about Pride, but not exclusively. We do need to move on to the actual comics, or else we'll be going forever.
Yes.
So, what happened last time?
Okay. Do you want to take a crack at it, John?
Fuck you.
Work together,
The
guys.
Hulk was there.
Nope, that was the last
Yeah,
one.
that was the last one.
Then I have no earthly idea.
Well, we were still with the Beast.
Yep.
Okay, was he still doing second person?
No. He's long
So
been done
he's
with second
done with-
person.
And that is a shame because we need more second person
No,
comics in our
absolutely
life.
not.
Yes.
Absolutely not. If
A
you
beast
want that, you
needs to
have
be in
a
his
source for
bedroom.
that.
It
No.
needs to be his
No.
the 13th
No.
year of life.
No.
But he has yet to be
No.
named. What shall his name be?
Anyway,
So
the-
smell
the
Poop
Griffin.
Lord?
Yes! Yes, that is his name! That is Beast's new name!
Okay, no. Fuck you, fuck me, fuck everyone for that. Let's
You
move along.
you
So anyway, I think the Griffin was the second issue.
The Griffin
not
was the
remember
second
what the first
issue.
one was.
The first issue, Hank got home because he just finished dealing with Mastermind.
Right.
And Linda was coming up the stairs at pretty much the same time.
Right.
So he had to throw a disguise on.
Uh-huh.
And then Linda came in, and because he ruined most of his disguise and or the rest of it was at work, he had to bundle up and pretend that he was sick.
Right.
And he said he was too contagious. So Linda
remember
had to
that.
leave.
And
Oh.
you made a joke about quarantine.
Was it Quasimodo or was that?
It was Quasimodo.
Okay.
How did we get to Quasimodo, though?
Okay, so he went back to the office to get his disguise. And everyone was out there looking for him, and they were like, "Where the fuck have you been for like days?" And he was like, "I've been around." And then people were saying the Beast was there, and Hank was like, "But I'm the Beast, so it's
Not
not
allowed."
me." So it turned out that it was Quasimodo, who is a robot.
Oh yeah, Quasimodo wanted to steal Beast's life force because he wanted to become a real boy.
Yes,
Exactly.
exactly. So, Quasimodo had a vampire gun and tried to give Beast the good suck. And they ended up fighting on some construction because there's always convenient construction.
Especially when you got flippy guys.
But was
Yes.
that when he realized the Beast wasn't healing, or did something happen between then?
No, nothing happened between then and that. They
Okay,
were
so-
fighting on the construction. Quasimodo shot him with a rivet gun, and he got hurt and wasn't healing. So Quasimodo was like, "Well, I guess I'll die then."
My entire plan is ruined.
This was all useless. I will never be a real boy. I must cast myself unto oblivion.
Right. And then died. And then in the next issue, Beast showed up at Patsy's house for some reason and collapsed on her couch, and then he turned quote unquote black.
Uh-huh. And that's how he turned the color he is to this very
That's how he
day.
discovered his love of jazz.
Yeah. And Patsy knew that he was himself
Because he slept talked.
because he sleep talked, yeah. So then the Griffin was there. The Griffin came to kill him, and he was fighting the Griffin, and then Warren showed up because Warren had a temper tantrum and left to go find him.
He was mad that Xavier wouldn't tell him what was going on.
Right, so Warren showed up.
His slacks and trousers, much like on the cover of today's issue.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because for some reason, he just
This
doesn't
is-
rock a shirt.
This is his new look. So
Wow, he's even got the leather shoes.
they chased
He's
off.
a rich boy. He can afford the
But what's
leather
with the
shoes.
armbands?
It's part of the look, John.
Yeah, you know,
It's
the
an
look.
ensemble.
What kind of
The
ensemble?
bracelets match the shoes, obviously.
Duh.
The accessories match.
Where did you get...
He's a biblically accurate angel. So anyway, they chased off the Griffin, and then they went back to Hank's house and they commiserated over how bad binders are. Which, yeah, I was wearing one today myself and sweated a lot, so I could relate. And then they went back to Hank's work because Warren would back him up on any bullshit story that he told them about where he's been. So they did that, and then they left work again because they were like, fuck this place.
Why are we even here?
Right?
Hank McCoy has spent less time at work than he has spent doing anything else.
Honestly, how does he still have a job?
Frankly.
And then the Griffin showed up again, and he was like, "Hi, I'm the Griffin, and I'm mad. Here's a list of my grievances. I'm not happy with my employment."
Oh, we also missed Linda's Zoom call.
Yeah,
Linda's evil Zoom call.
Linda had a Zoom call in which it was revealed that she works for the
Secret Empire.
The Secret Empire.
Oh yeah, the people
and
who...
so does the Griffin.
We don't really know who they... You don't know
I
who
can't
they are.
remember who they are.
It doesn't matter.
I don't care.
But the impressive part is, both of you don't know who they are.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
They're so super relevant.
So, yeah, super duper. So the Griffin came back, and they fought him, I assume?
Yeah, they fought him.
And something happened.
They did not die.
He wrapped his arms around the Griffin, and they fell to the ground, and then Angel decked him.
Right, and the Griffin was embarrassed. So... he didn't come back again. Anyway, after that, we read an issue of Hulk, which had Lorna and Alex in it. And Hulk was being chased by Ross, obviously.
As was the style of the time.
Yes, and he was thinking about this green-haired alien girl who he may or may not have been in love with.
And he thought
Or
Lorna
may
was
not
the
exist.
green-haired
He thought
alien
Lorna
girl.
was the green-haired alien girl. She was in the desert looking for Alex to try to get him to go back to the mansion.
Small desert.
Well, she was deliberately looking for him.
Well, yeah, I think probably she knew where he was.
Alex probably settled at least somewhat close to humanity, so he settled by the base.
No, that's not the part. I mean, running into the Hulk.
Yeah.
Well, the Hulk was at the base.
Hulk big.
So if Alex set up shop not far from the base because it's close to where you can get supplies and shit, it's not a huge surprise that the Hulk would run into him, actually.
Hulk big can traverse large amounts of space.
And does often.
He also jumped over that way
Yes.
because, I don't know, he used his Hulk vision to see the green-haired girl being chased by a motorcycle gang.
Right,
I
exactly.
think it sounds like Hulk.
Sure,
So,
I'll take it.
Hulk took Lorna, and then Alex was like, well, fuck, I guess I have to do shit now. And he put on his stupid fucking outfit.
We actually missed the fact that the reason Alex is in the desert to begin with is he lost his temper and
He's
blasted...
angsty.
And
Yeah,
he felt like he was too dangerous.
he lost his temper and he blasted Bobby, and after that ran away.
And then he fought the man who has the worst temper problems in the world.
Got a little bit of perspective.
Yeah, so he went to go fight the Hulk, and the Hulk almost threw a mountain at him. But he stopped that, and then...
He blasted him in the forehead until the Hulk put the mountain down.
Right. It, like, fucking... that one torture where they just do, like, a drop of water
The Chinese
in the middle
water
of
torture?
your forehead over and over and over. He did that to the Hulk. It made Hulk drop the mountain, and then Hulk passed out and started turning back into Banner. And Lorna and Alex went back to the X-Mansion because Alex doesn't feel like he's so scary anymore.
Well,
Yeah.
now that he
He learned
the
him a
Hulk,
thing or two.
Right?
You know, when you
And
fight
then-
the Hulk,
And then Betty and what's-his-fuck showed up.
Major Talbot.
Sure.
Hulk stuff happened.
Yeah, Hulk stuff happened, and they showed up, and they were like, oh, we gotta take care of Bruce, and then Bruce was like, oh, Urella, my love.
That's
And
the name
Betty
of the
was-
alien girl.
And Betty was like, what is he talking about?
If memory
And
serves,
Major
Major-
Talbot was like,
Like, I'm not getting involved in
I
this.
do believe those are both people who end up being Hulks later.
I don't know about Major Talbot, I know Betty does.
Yes, I definitely know Betty does. I think, or maybe Major Talbot becomes something else.
Or are you confusing with Major Ross, who does with General Ross, who most definitely does become a
lot
Hulk?
of people around Bruce end up turning into something. It's kind of like how Peter Parker's extended family ends up getting sucked into his spider shenanigans in one way or another.
It's weird how that happens.
Yeah.
So
Comic
anyway, that's what you missed on Glee.
Yep. Well, let's get to the comics. First up this week, we have Marvel Team Up number 4 from June of 1972. Written by Jerry Conway, luckily not in second person this time.
Oh boy.
Aww.
Pencils by Gil Kane. Inks by Stephen Mitchell, who is a new name for us. The fun Stephen Mitchell fact that I have for you is that he's presumably alive.
You couldn't confirm it?
That's the only thing I could find on this man. I didn't find a death date, so I'm assuming.
You couldn't find anything else about him.
Okay.
Ripley's been telling me all week about the research they've been doing about these comic book creators and how little information there is for so many of them.
Oh, no. So,
You either know everything that ever happened to this person or nothing. You
You
know
know,
this
like
is a man.
general birth
you
date.
know that this person existed because they have credits somewhere.
This man was born on May 25th of some year.
And he has some credits. And that's it.
Yep.
Well, that's what I have for Stephen Mitchell. This is his first work with the company, but he doesn't have many credits until about 1979, as in this is one of about 4 comics I could find between Marvel and DC that he contributed to before 1979. That's not saying he didn't work with, like, Carlton or one of the other companies, but that's what is easy for me to access, so... But after that, he's got a good amount of work in the 80s and 90s, so that's Stephen, I guess. Last off is John Costanza, back on lettering. We're actually going to find this issue to be fairly topical. But I'm sure that's not what you're thinking as you look at the X-Men attempting to murder Spider-Man on the cover.
How is that topical?
So that's
Oh,
how
you
this
know.
is good. Oh, you'll see. Also, I don't know why we're still using the imagery of Angel in his first X-Men costume flying over the title.
Right?
It's strange.
So wait. Angel represents the X-Men now.
Well, he flew over the title for a long time
He
in the
did.
beginning ones.
Okay. I guess that makes... They're throwing together stuff they already have to make some of this.
Peter Parker lays safe in his bed, though in a feverish dream, in which we find that
Being dramatic.
Morbius has declared it's Morbin time!
No, it is not Morbin time. It cannot be Morbin time. I am not prepared for Morbin time.
Well, as Dream Peter faces his imminent morbing,
I mean, as one does, you get morbed.
It's true.
he is suddenly awoken as his roommate, Harry Osborn, grabs him by the shoulders, startling him awake.
God, Harry, fucking raise your eyebrows, man.
So, just out of curiosity, because I know your love of all things spider,
I know plenty.
what's Peter up to around these parts?
Peter is in college, along with Harry, Gwen, and MJ. He's living with Harry Osborn rent-free so he can stop having to travel all the way from his aunt's house to school. And
Very cool of Harry.
I think this must be right before his drug problem was really fully revealed, but it
Harry's
was
not Peter.
Yeah, it was fully implied, I think, if I recall, that it was existing at this point, it just hadn't really come to a head. So, they're hanging out, they're cool, they're fine. Norman Osborn, I think, doesn't remember that he is Peter Parker at this point in time. It's just life as usual before shit gets wild. Harry's just like, dude, you're having a nightmare, you're fine, you're awake. But he does note that Peter looks like shit and should really go to a doctor.
And you should stop getting morbed in your dreams.
But Peter doesn't have health insurance, so he just shoves his rich friend and his go see a doctor out the door.
Hey, Peter, why don't you let your rich friend pay for the doctor?
Harry probably fucking would, too. Harry's a pretty good guy. But even though he really does feel like garbage, Peter decides to strap on the old web-slinging suit and set his anxieties at ease by actually doing something about the situation.
By going to find Morbius?
No, he's swinging his way to visit a science professor that he's been talking to before this. I don't remember all the details about it. We'll get there. I don't know why he assumes this man is going to be up at this time of night if he just woke up in the middle of the night.
But because mad scientists are always up at night.
That's fair. But here's what I can give you in background information. It's not much, because I don't remember a lot of it. It wasn't that memorable to me, but that may be because I hate Morbius. Now, Michael Morbius, because that's just his name, had a blood disease, and he was researching his own blood disease, if I recall. I think he tested something that he was researching on himself because we have chosen hubris yet again. But instead, he became Morbius, the living vampire. And then Spidey was fighting him, and
And there you go, that's the whole movie.
Yeah, Morbius bit him or morbed him or whatever the fuck he does. And now he feels like garbage.
Wow.
Some of this could be inaccurate. It's been a long time.
He morbed him, damn.
Morbed the fuck out of him.
He got him. He got morbed.
Spidey's got...
He's got the morbs.
He's got the morbs. And he's trying to get the morbs cured.
Most of that could have been derived from the background clues here on the page, but those listening and even watching aren't really catching all of it because, again, these are very condensed retellings.
It's got something to do with the vampire called Morbius.
If you want to read along at home and give us your thoughts on the issues, we'd be more than happy to hear them.
Yeah.
But we get to the scientists. Professor Hans Jorgensen reads through some letters. I don't remember, but there does seem to be an implication that he may be a colleague of the Morbster. It seems that Morbius's research could reverse some kinds of leukemia, but also cause horrific side effects. Which just tends to come with cancer treatments anyway, so...
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's Morbin time.
It's Morbin time, motherfucker. Well, putting together Mike's recent absence with the accusations made by Spider-Man, Jorgensen begins to come to a grim conclusion that Morbius may have done something terrible.
Hey, Mr. Morbius, why don't you be like Don Blake and be a good guy, so when you do something weird, people just cover for you?
Well, Morbius immediately confirms that he has done something terrible as he climbs in the open window and punches Jorgensen in the face.
No! Morbed him!
That's a weird thing for a vampire to do.
His plan is to make off with Jorgensen and force him to help reverse his morbining. Downstairs, Jorgensen's landlady hears the scuffle and wants to give him some guff about violating quiet hours. Just as Spider-Man crawls through Jorgensen's window, the landlady begins climbing up to give him a piece of her mind. Peter studies the upturned apartment and gets an idea of what must have happened, but his investigation is interrupted as the landlady opens the door, screeching upon seeing him there.
And she's dead.
No, she's not dead. She faints. She's fine. But Peter beats a hasty retreat. Talking to the cops doesn't usually go so well for Pete, and he feels like shit, so he really doesn't want to deal with it. And he decides to just go. But the next morning, bright and early, the Daily Bugle crows across the front page that Spider-Man kidnapped the missing professor. Up in Westchester, Charles Xavier, reading his morning paper, is alarmed by the prospect as Professor Jorgensen is a colleague of his, and
Of fucking course he is.
Wow, I didn't realize he cared about leukemia?
I mean, I can see where he might be able to stretch
Oh, right,
it.
we're still in the era when mutation was funky.
Yeah, I can see where that might be. The last time they talked, Hans was talking about his concerns for Morbius. He must have given more information than we're getting. Maybe that Spider-Man came around asking, because other than that, it seems like a bit of a leap between I'm worried about my student and I have been captured by Spider-Man. But maybe that's just me.
Also, I am uncomfortable with the fact that Professor X knows who Morbius is.
Well, you know, academics do tend to
I
circle
know,
among their own circle.
But
so...
he knows about Morbin time.
Well, he doesn't know much about Morbin time. He knows Morbius. There's a
Is
problem
a dude
with
who
Morbius.
exists.
Yes,
Morbius
and
is
that's
a man
too much.
who has a problem.
It's too much, I tell you.
I think that's a bit much. But Charles reaches his mind out across the school for his students, finding Bobby and Angel practicing. Angel is in his old costume, as in, like, his first X-Men costume, for God knows what reason. I don't even know how it still fits. But he's not alone, as we find Scott and Jean also hanging out in their old costumes. Though Jean does not have to wear the terrible mask. She gets the little mask she put on between. He also tries to reach out to Hank, but Hank declines. He also
he's busy.
He also tries to reach out to Hank, which Hank declines, but he does express concern for what's going on with Hank, and that's the first time we've heard anything resembling concern about Hank from Charles here.
Hank
Right.
can just do that, I guess.
I'm busy, I'm not one of your dudes anymore.
Hank is not really happy about that.
Yeah.
Wow, they are not happy with each other.
No, I mean, you got the vibe that Charles was not all that happy with him earlier, anyway. So, the X-Men change out of their costumes and report to a briefing in their regular clothes for some reason, where Charles gives them the lowdown on the situation. Spider-Man probably kidnapped Jorgensen. Go get him back. No muss, no fuss, no bells, no whistles, and especially no attention. Bobby's shirt, unbuttoned down to his navel, was a choice.
Wow.
That's a straight man right there.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
He's even got the fucking gay Ken ring necklace.
Cock ring necklace.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
That
This is a straight
man
man.
is so heterosexual.
I mean, to be fair, people did dress like this in the 70s,
It was
but
the 70s.
it's still a choice
It is.
that communicates something.
He's the only one dressed like that.
He's the
Scott's
only
wearing
one.
a suit. Warren's wearing a fucking trench coat.
And
Jean's got a sweater on. Bobby looks like he's about to head down to a swingers club.
Right?
okay, you have two people who look like they might be going clubbing, depending on what Gene is up for, and two people who are late for work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then there is a panel that for some reason is completely sideways.
Including
Text
the
and
lettering.
all. Yeah. It's in the text boxes reading about Charles's thoughts about the men he groomed, praying that the values he's given them are good values.
Grooming isn't a good thing, Chuck.
Nah.
That's bad.
Nah,
Mr.
but I'm just gonna
Xavier.
I'm gonna let that slide, let that hang there in the air because that seems right.
Yeah.
Well, no wonder he's angry that one of his child soldiers is saying no.
Yeah. Anyways, it's just after sunset now. Spidey is still feeling awful and still web-slinging around anyway.
Still morbed.
It's still morbed when suddenly his web line snaps. But he doesn't fall downward. Looking up to see what gives, he sees that Angel has taken hold of his web line. He shoots another and makes to come up and kick his ass, but instead encounters his old foe, the Iceman, again.
His old frenemy.
What in the name of J. Jonah Jameson did you guys
In the distraction, Angel yet again makes himself a problem, grabbing Spider-Man while he's distracted by Iceman.
Why did they change out of their costumes?
That's what I don't understand. Why did they change into their street clothes for this? Why were they wearing the old costumes to begin, but why did they put on their fucking civvies?
And Warren is indeed.
Yet again, slacks and loafers.
Yep. No shirt.
What is this
No
look?
It reminds me of this very brief period of Thor comics where all that he wore was pants.
Oh, okay, that's Herc's deal.
I feel like I've seen that Thor,
Herc
actually.
doesn't wear pants. Well, sometimes he wears pants.
Herc should not wear pants, though.
I agree.
But he doesn't wear a shirt.
Well, Peter then yeeters Angel away.
Guys, he's Spider-Man. Are you sure?
But Marvel Girl is on hand to snag Warren before he manages to get himself hurt. And Iceman closes in again. Honestly, I feel like if these two kept working together with how Peter is feeling, they could probably just tire him out enough that he would go down.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say that Iceman could help reduce his fever.
That's not a bad point, actually. Except that Pete has learned the trick with fighting Iceman in the city. Smashes Ice Slide and he's as vulnerable as anyone.
Yeah, he just kind of falls.
Yep. He does that, and then Cyclops finally enters the fight.
With eye punches.
Yep, he snaps out blast after blast, but as Jean notes, it seems like Spider-Man almost knows where each blast is going to hit before it lands.
Weird. That's so weird.
You know, you'd think a telepath would know that the other guy knows things, but...
It's almost like that, isn't it, Janie Bean? Sick as he is, the web-slinger doesn't have much oomph left in him. He's got to wrap this up and get out of here before he just fucking falls down. He throws Bobby back off his case because the Bobster is backing at him again. But before he can fully knock him out of the fight, he finds himself held in place. He's not fully immobilized, and he turns to see a young man and woman approaching him from the end of the alley he's landed in. Scott Summers wants to talk the situation over with him, which he probably should have tried first.
He could have tried this.
Peter's not always the most reasonable when he's younger. He's got quite a temper on him,
Wow.
and he's not always the most reasonable. He's a flawed man. That's part of the part. He's just a dude.
He's an only child. Yup.
Fair.
It doesn't matter because Spider-Man just doesn't answer any questions. He just passes out.
Well, the Morbing got to him too good. And that's what he can do when morbed. Guys, this was what happens when you fight him morbed.
The X-Men bring Spider-Man, still unconscious, back up to the school, where Charles Xavier examines him. I guess Spider-Man must have brought Jorgensen's notes with him in his pockets, as Xavier has them on hand.
His spider pockets.
Yeah, his pockets that he definitely has.
Yeah.
All spider suits are known for having.
He must stuff them into his mask because it's just a solid lump across his nose.
I've seen him shove stuff into his shoe, his boot before, so
Yeah.
who knows? Maybe he had Jorgensen's notes wrapped around his calf. By reading the notes, Professor X has come to the conclusion that Spider-Man has 4 hours left to live.
Cool.
He reaches into Peter's mind, looking to find how all of this has come to pass, and he gets effectively what I told you at the beginning of the story in a both more and less clear retelling.
He got morbed!
Yep. Professor X then realizes that maybe the Daily Bugle is a less than reliable source for Spider-Man news,
I'm shocked.
as the enemy was the very student Jorgensen was worried about, Michael Morbius, all along.
Yeah.
He then dispatches his students off to go find Morbius, and in doing so, Professor Jorgensen, as he's going to need his colleagues' help for this. This is not his area of study, after all. Maybe that's not what they're going for here, but I'm going to take it as someone finally acknowledging that if you're a scientist, you're not a scientist about everything.
What?
That's insane.
Marvel's made it very clear that scientists know everything about science.
Smart people know everything.
Don't you know? The Fantastic Four are just so good at science. They know all of the science.
Well, this point is emphasized by the fact that Michael Morbius here is no physician. Hans Jorgensen has been unconscious for 2 days.
I think he's dead.
You morbed him too hard, my dude.
That's a coma, my dude.
Or you just killed him. You may have just killed him.
I think he's alive. I think we know that. Morbs is starving, though, as he's been sitting here watching Jorgensen lay in his coma the whole time. He's tempted to feed upon him, but reminds himself that he does kind of need Jorgensen's help, and so he heads out for snackies.
You let this go a day longer, and he's gonna die of dehydration no matter what.
Perching on a rooftop, Morbius watches as criminals discuss crimes. It's not clear what they actually intend to do, as no one outright mentions it, but one of the guys has a knife, and they're talking about cash, so right, crimes. Well, if you have the munchies anyway, and you're watching imminent criming, why not kill 2 birds with 1 stone?
And it's Morbin time again!
It's Morbin time, baby! Morbius drops into the alley, subduing the thieves, and having himself a little snack. Soaring through the skies above the city, Angel...
Again shirtless.
Still shirtless. I'm assuming... No, these are different pants! Warren!
You have entire costumes for this.
He hates all of his
Several.
costumes, but one of them is at least good.
Yeah.
Nope. This is a tits out look. He refuses to go with anything less.
I paid a lot of money for that top surgery, and I'm gonna show it off, goddammit. He's still in his trousers here for some reason. He even went back home first. I guess this is just the look he's going for these days. Dad, who had a few too many drinks at the barbecue.
Ooh.
I can dig it. He finds the source and flies back to tell his friends where to go, and they close in on a freshly Morbius, crouched over his prey. But as they approach, he turns instead to leap at the X-Men. Caught off guard before they were ready to go, the X-Men are all taken to the
Morbius
ground.
attacks!
No, he's gonna morb all over
He's
us.
gonna morb them all.
They're gonna be morbed.
They're all taken to the ground, and they struggle to regain themselves as Morbius sets into a frenzy against them, immediately knocking Iceman out of the fight and then throwing a trash can at Cyclops.
You know he's got super strength and shit, right?
Yep, I did know that. Morbius sucks, but I did know that.
But I don't think they knew that.
No, I don't think they did, which, to be fair, why would they?
Who's ever heard of Michael Morbius?
Well, that still
Us,
leaves...
apparently.
That still leaves 2, and Angel rushes in headlong to stop him before he, too, is decked. Then something whizzes right past Morbius' ear, and he tries to figure out what the hell that was. He took out all 3 of the men, after all. But wait, the woman? The female of the species?
Oh my god.
A woman.
He closes in on Jean, but you know Scott's not gonna have that.
Nope.
Even from his position on the ground, assumedly still under this trash can, Psyche fires at Morbius to keep him off Jean, but he's just not fast enough to hit him before he takes her as a human shield.
Of course.
Typical.
No, things go a little bit differently.
Oh.
Not entirely, but Jean urges Scott not to cooperate and not to listen to Morbius, even as Morbius directly threatens her life to Scott's fucking face. And Scott listens. He doesn't let Morbius psych him out. Instead, he hits a bank shot, bopping Morbius in the back of the head.
Oh my god.
It's a one-shot knockout, and that just leaves finding Dr. Jorgensen.
Eye punches can do that, I guess.
Yeah, I've given up on trying to rationalize it. It's beams from the punch dimension, and sometimes you can bank them off shit. I don't know why, I don't know how, it's fine.
And
I like that.
It dropped Morbius in one hit.
The beams from the punch dimension are really killing me, because that would be like the D&D explanation. From the elemental plane of punches.
He can't punch very well on his own, but his eyes open up a portal to the punch dimension, and
Yes.
he uses his magic punching so good that it can bounce off things sometimes.
Yes. I have other theories, but that's theories, and that's not for this podcast. Other than the ones I do say. Well, it's a one-hit knockout, and that just leaves finding Dr. Jorgensen. The professor, monitoring the situation, reaches out with his plan for managing that. He tells Jean to blank her thought, by which he presumably means to clear her mind. What the fuck, Gerald? Xavier then, by proxy, reaches into Morbius's mind to find Hans's location.
Ugh.
And then it's just racing the clock as they head for home with Morbius and Jorgensen in tow. A short time later, Peter awakens, still feeling like garbage, but at least alive, and maybe starting to feel better, when he turns and sees Morbius on the next bed over. He asks for an explanation, and the X-Men recount the events of the book. Spidey enthusiastically thanks the professor, only for both he and everyone else to instead turn the spotlight on Jean, who apparently somehow boosted Jorgensen's brain so he could do the computations he needed to save Spidey.
Okay.
I don't know how that works, but I'm glad it did.
Okay. And then Peter is gross.
Yep.
Yeah, Peter, no.
Yeah.
Bad Peter.
Peter, you need to ask.
Thrilled, Spider-Man leaps across the room to give Jean a hell of a kiss, which I have a problem with, but apparently Jean found cute. Sure. He then dives out through the window, glass and all, and swings off into the skies.
So dramatic.
I thought they were at the school. What the fuck is he swinging off of? Well, on that happy note, we close the issue. Next up, we pick back up on the Beast story with Amazing Adventures 16 from October of 1972.
Was Amazing Adventures just the name of a series that
they
threw
was
characters into?
Yep, there was an Inhumans story before this, too.
Yeah, it's one of the titles, like Journey into Mystery.
Okay.
Tales of Suspense.
Except
like
it's not a split story, they just change who stars in the book from time
I'm
to
a
time.
little unclear about what kind of stories they were throwing poor Hank into.
I see some familiar faces.
There
do
are
I.
some familiar faces, and some familiar names.
And one of them appears to be no longer morbed. And
Oh.
one must die
Okay.
in the dark of
Alright,
Halloween.
I know why that's going on, actually, but I'm not going to get into it. That's right, though, we do have some familiar faces, made by some familiar names, but not all that many. Written by Steve Englehart, pencils by Bob Brown, who is a new name for us. He mostly worked in comics from the 50s until his death in 77, though he does have some earlier credited works in the 40s. A fun Bob Brown fact is that he had something of a performing career. His parents were performers, with his father owning a vaudeville theater and his mother working as a pianist. As a kid, he did an act with his sister, something that he carried on with even as an adult, seemingly until he got drafted, after which he turned to various art gigs. Moving on, we have another new name on inks, Frank McLaughlin. A fun Frank fact is that when he entered into comics as a career as an assistant, it actually meant he did everything, and nearly he ended up as the editor at the company he worked at, Charlton Comics. Do I know the veracity of this? No. Is it fun? Sure. And lettering, we have another new name, Glennis Ween. We're actually going to see a lot of Glennis's work in the future, but I couldn't find all that much information on her. She was once married to Len Wein, who's going to be a significant name for us in the near future. She won a 1973 Shazam Award for Best Colorist. Beyond that, she's largely a mystery to me. So, on with the show. We open with a convertible roaring through the Vermont night towards a hulking, shaggy beast. Is it the Beast? One would assume no, since he has big red eyes on this page, but apparently that was just a trick of the light, as on the next page, that's not a problem anymore.
That really what he's looking like these days?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep, it is. I told you.
They never settled on a design for this guy. I mean,
Eventually they do. Around his Avenger days,
except
mostly.
each artist makes him look different.
That's true. No one consistently draws the Beast.
Fucking Greg Land just traces pictures of lions.
The art inconsistency seems to track, as the car has changed from being a convertible to a regular coupe. Also, this car no longer looks like a Mustang anymore, despite being referred to as one. But other than that, fun. Also, a fun fact about Rutland, Vermont, which is where they're heading to. It's home to Killington Ski Resort, which is pretty cool, but completely irrelevant. I just can't think about Rutland without thinking about Killington. Well, now that I've spoiled it for you, the Beast darts out of the road and off into the trees, but the shaken occupants of the car are apparently not genre savvy and decide to get out of the car to investigate.
Fucking Scooby Gang over here.
Brilliant.
The little lady of the group, Glynis, remarks to her friends Len, Steve, and Jerry that she feels like Fay Ray, having seen the Beast, which I don't understand why just seeing him would make you feel that way, Glenny, but sure. Back in the woods, Hank quickly becomes a reverse furry.
There's gotta be a better name for whatever he's doing.
He changes back into his man suit and comes back to Vera.
He has a human face and human gloves. Human skin gloves.
The only other direction I could take that would be fucking Buffalo Bill, so...
My gloves that look like human hands.
It puts the lotion on its skin.
I mean...
Ugh.
Horrid.
Yeah. Anyway, we come back to Vera, just sitting on a rock in the woods. It seems that the pair of them are stranded, and this may have been Hank's way to secure them a ride. So Hank and Vera step out of the woods, hand in hand, as if that's just normal, and they approach the group at the car. Steve, the owner of the car, explains that they've been having a weird trip up here to Rutland, but for a moment, thinks he recognizes Hank, and even more once he mentions his name, but he still can't place him. Despite that, he's good with giving them a ride into town, remarking that strange things happen here in Rutland on Halloween.
Like the Juggernaut falling out of a hole in
Like
reality.
the Juggernaut falling out of a hole in reality. I really don't think these kids are dressed seasonably for Halloween in New England, but that's
No.
just me.
Also, that kid has male pattern baldness.
Yeah, I feel bad for this guy,
You
right?
know, some people it comes on real early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people age strange, like my
It's-
grandpa had white hair in his 30s.
It's rough, though.
Yeah. But yes, as they drive off, the Juggernaut does indeed fall through a portal to land back here on Earth, which he delights over. He's been away for a while. Jugsy Malone then starts monologuing about how he wants revenge on the enemies that cast him from the Earth to begin with.
Is the hole trying to take him back?
It does appear to be that way.
I am now getting uncomfortable with that hole.
Back behind him, the portal does indeed begin to reopen in the sky, giving the Juggernaut the suck off into the realm of magic.
Oh my god, that was such a short cameo.
Why? Why did he fall through a hole only to get sucked back through the hole?
So he could recap what's been going on with him, and since we haven't been reading all of this, let's give a quick rundown on what we haven't seen with the Juggernaut.
He's looking today, very...
Fat. He's not looking
That's
muscular
not what
like
I
he
was-
usually does. He looks like
that's-
a fat egg.
Not what I was gonna say. I was gonna say he looks like a pill capsule.
You know, I can see that too,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna stick with fat egg.
Okay.
Somehow he ended up in Nightmare's realm, even though I thought he was supposed to return to the Crimson Cosmos. Maybe his demon sugar daddy was annoyed with his new roomie and kicked him out.
Look, Not every warlock makes sense, okay?
Well, he fought Doctor Strange for some reason, and then Eternity cast him off into oblivion because no one wants to live with his shitty temper.
Fair.
But last Halloween, Dormammu's minions brought Doctor Strange here for some reason, and tonight the Beast is here. And for some reason this means that the Juggernaut, this is somehow relevant to him. But both magic and his own innate anger convince him that he wants to go raise hell. Why? Who knows? That was barely cohesive.
Did he just fall through another hole?
But he's invisible.
or is that a flashback hole? I'm actually kind of...
You're mixed up with all the holes.
Yes!
I'm not sure.
There are too many holes here!
The important thing to note is that as midnight approaches, the Juggernaut will be drawn more and more strongly to Rutland.
Also, why is the Juggernaut invisible? When did being invisible become a Juggernaut thing?
Assumedly this has to do with the magic dimension and not the Juggernaut's innate powers. Well, Steve's car sputters into Rutland, and the group pull up to the hotel that they made reservations at. At which point they complain that Marvel must not pay Steve anything since his car is such a piece of shit. I'm also amazed that they fit 6 people, especially with big-ass Hank McCoy in a fucking Mustang, but we're kind of burying the lead here with that, as yes, if you haven't figured it out by now, the Glynis and Steve in question are Glynis Wein and Steve Englehart, along with other members of the Marvel Bullpen, Len Wein and Jerry Conway.
Why are they doing self-inserts?
It's an unfortunate thing that Marvel thinks is very cute to do at this point in time, but is in reality just annoying and self-serving.
Is this a common thing at this point?
They do this usually around once a year, the Halloween party in Rutland, but they do pop in other places. There's also Assistant Editors Month or week or whatever later on in the 80s, which is also annoying and self-serving, but hey. So they're here for a party at this man named Tom Fagan's house. But Halloween is a pretty big deal around here, and there's a Halloween parade due to start before too long. Hank would really like to take a look at the festivities and maybe get something to eat, but Vera reminds him that they're here on a mission, and if they don't get to Canada by the end of the week, the world will end.
What?
Well, the Bullpen are back down from their hotel rooms, dressed in Halloween costumes. Everyone is dressed as superheroes, which is, like, one of the rules for this guy, Tom's party.
Wait.
Everybody dress up like superheroes.
They're dressed up like DC superheroes.
Some of them are. Some of them aren't. You see, this guy's Doctor Strange, I think.
I mean, that's the Flash.
Well, yeah, that's the Flash. There are people dressed as DC heroes, but there are also people dressed as Marvel
yeah,
folk.
I guess that is the Doctor Strange case.
Which is why Spider-Man was on the cover. Actually, he's not in the issue. It was just someone dressed as Spidey.
I knew that, actually.
Yeah.
I did not. And there's Batman! There's Batman!
Yeah, Marvel and DC used to have more of a thing.
Yeah.
They used to collaborate a lot more.
Yeah.
I guess this is part of
But
that.
they also had more of a rivalry, too.
Yes.
It was a specific energy. The Bullpen spot Hank and Vera still hanging out in Rutland, and they offer to get a pair an invite to the party. Hank and Vera try to softly back down, but quickly social niceties can be dispensed with as the Juggernaut crashes down through a portal onto a parade float, leaving all the revelers to flee.
Another hole!
The Juggernaut is following his magical anger impulses. He can tell that the Beast is right in front of him, but he can't see him. He starts tearing shit up anyway, but after only a few mere moments of that, the portal sucks him back away to the magic dimension once more.
Damn
Oh my
it!
god. This is ridiculous.
Why?
Apparently this is what they mean by that he'll be drawn more and more strongly towards Rutland, just that he fades in and out of reality, and is there for longer and longer as in each burst as midnight approaches.
This should be... I hope he hasn't eaten anything. I figure he'd throw up eventually.
Well, as he fades away, he declares that he'll be back. Steve, Len, and Jerry realize that Glynis is nowhere to be seen, and so the creatives rush back off looking for her. Hank sends Vera off too, knowing that the situation could soon become dangerous once more.
So these comic people haven't realized a real comic villain is in their midst.
I'm not sure. Hank ditches his man suit, relieved that he can walk around here without getting too much trouble on Halloween.
I guess furries are acceptable on Halloween.
Beast searches high and low, but he sees no sign of the Juggernaut. Frustrated, he heads back into the woods to vent his frustration on some hapless trees. But Hank McCoy wanted the Juggernaut so bad? Well, that's what he gets! He yet again drops out of the portal, immediately recognizing this to be the Beast, appearances be damned. Magic, yo. He then throws the beast. Same old Juggernaut.
Well, it's almost as if this is the only version of the beast he recognized.
Hank, always more agile than the Juggernaut, who is more just like, hey, what if you let a wrecking ball have sentience?
I guess that's what... you know what? They really did draw him like that.
He jumps onto the Juggernaut's back, grabbing to pull his helmet off. Steve gets a lot of things wrong here. He's under the impression that the Juggernaut is powerless without his helmet, which he is not. He's just prone to telepathic attacks.
I was about to say.
Hey, Hank, you're not a telepath.
And that gets to the second point. Why was the Beast trying to pull it off? He doesn't have a telepath on hand.
Excuse me, one moment, as I zoom in on Drugsy's face here. They forgot to draw his faceplate.
So he just has kind of a meh.
It's just like...
Memoji.
Yeah. Drawn onto his fucking helmet.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on.
Well, the Juggernaut throws the Beast back off of his back with ease and begins rushing his way, proving the caveat of what I just said, because what the Juggernaut does have in his favor in the speed department is momentum.
Oh, yeah.
He can get going faster and faster once you let him get a start, something which Hank McCoy is learning pretty quickly right now. It's all he can do to stay ahead of the Juggernaut as he runs off. He jumps over a power station over a dam, putting it between he and the Juggernaut.
Which will definitely stop the Juggernaut forever.
Right, the Juggernaut's just gonna have to find a way around it. And he apparently forgot that that's kind of the Juggernaut's whole thing. Shocked Pikachu face as the Juggernaut runs through the substation without stopping.
What?
Hank then dives for the water, seeking a way out, but the Juggernaut can swim too, and that's only left Hank worse off now that he's all soggy. The Juggernaut catches up and then throws Hank back off the dam and onto the rocks below, because yes, this has all been taking place on the dam. If you're going to put yourself in a comic, Steve, I'd think that you'd want it to be a good story, and this is very much not.
You'd also want to know how, I don't know, the characters you're using work.
No shit. The Juggernaut jumps down after McCoy, but in the unstable, loose soil, he finds himself slipping down the embankment. This seems like as good an opening as any for Hank to retreat back into town and lose himself in the party. Maybe the Juggernaut too. Anything could happen.
He knew you were there, my dude.
He puts his man suit back on and heads into town. When he makes it there, Tom Fagan, the host of this little soiree, warmly invites Hank inside to enjoy the festivities. We see Roy Thomas and several other members of the Marvel Bullpen obnoxiously socializing, but luckily the Juggernaut puts a close to that by crashing through the wall. Steve, why did you think that Hank would instead decide to hide in the party and put all of these people, including you, in danger? This is stupid.
If this ends with you dying, Steve, I will actually have respect for you.
But no, shockingly Hank did not even for a moment consider this possibility. Fucking whoops. He flees to the attic, the Juggernaut hot on his tail as he searches for something to save himself, but when the Juggernaut crests the top of the stairs, he instead finds Hank prostrate on the ground. He challenges Beast to stop cowering like a sniveling child and face him like a man, and he does just that, tearing his man face off of his actual face, which was apparently enough that the Juggernaut was thrust into stunned silence, giving the Beast the opportunity to finish stealing his helmet.
That's not how that works.
He then kicks the Juggernaut, wailing that the Beast has robbed him of his powers, down the stairs. The Juggernaut flees while the Beast gives chase, the partygoers all doing their best to just stay the fuck out of the way. Keynes tries to steal Steve's Mustang, but Beast tackles him right back out of the car again. The fight continues, but it's not much of a fight, being that since Beast stole his magic hat, the Juggernaut is just a guy.
Yeah, that's how that works. It totally isn't because of the crimson bands of Sidorak.
No.
It's the helmet.
He doesn't have a magical sugar daddy.
But as Beast continues to beat his ass, something begins to happen. The Juggernaut begins rapidly aging before McCoy's eyes.
Why?
Once Hank notices, it's enough to finally stop the beatdown, explaining that effects of the other dimension tried to age me. Hate is the antidote that kept me young, but when you beat me, hate turned to fear. Which is not what Yoda told me, but then again, Yoda didn't quickly age and die before anyone's eyes for a while after that, so maybe he's not fully checked up on it.
So that's the last we'll ever see of him.
Yep, he just fades away and says, I'm gonna send your mentor after you or some bullshit. I don't fucking know. The bullpen finally find Glynis, who fucking knows where Vera is, since it's not like she and the Beast had a hotel room. She was just hanging out there. It was just the bullpen guys. And we leave Hank sulking on a rock. This was a terrible fucking road trip.
Oh god, what was that?
That was really bad.
That was really bad.
Y'all have encountered some stinkers, but
That was like barely a story.
That was barely coherent. Well, let's continue down the highway on our journey to Canada or bust to Incredible Hulk 161 from November of 1972. Written by Steve Englehart, pencils by Herb Trimp, letters by Artie Simek, and inks by our last new name for the day, Sal Trapani.
please tell me this is actually going to be not terrible.
A story.
It's a story.
Oh, thank God.
He was a well-known inker, Sal Trapani, often an uncredited partner for Steve Ditko, but a fun Sal Trapani fact is that he's one of the founders of the old-time radio fandom. I used to listen to a lot of that stuff because I like the audio drama format, and there's a lot of fun sci-fi stuff kicking around in old-time radio. I guess he met a convention organizer at a party and gave him, like, recordings of a ton of old radio shows, and it just kind of rolled on from there. A brief content warning on this last issue for Suicide. If you don't think you can handle that, you might want to come back maybe the last 10 minutes or so of the show where we'll be talking about Ms. Marvel. If we're still talking about the Hulk, you've gone too far back, bump it up a few minutes. We begin up in the Great Southlands of Canada, which I think means Southern Ontario, just across the river there. Canada doesn't have much Southland.
Actually, it has a lot of Southland. That's where most of the people live.
Yeah, I guess if you're considering the places where there's not many people, then I guess most of Canada is Southland.
I think
but no.
80% of all
If you look
Canadians
on maps,
live in the South.
If you look on maps, Northern Ontario is a different thing from Southern Ontario.
Yeah.
That's what they're talking about. The area from Ontario up into Quebec.
Oh,
It's-
you didn't mention above the Great Lakes.
Yeah. It's a peaceful autumn day, and the Mounties are just riding around on their horses.
And they really look like that. Wow.
Just another day as a Mountie, wandering the vast expanse of Canada, looking to stop lumberjack crimes and massive syrup heists in progress.
And sometimes you see the Hulk.
Unfortunately, their peaceful reverie is interrupted when a loud boom explodes, crashing over the peaceful landscape. It seems the Mounties have found their crime, as they always do.
You know, I think these Mounties may be a little under-equipped, even by, like, top standards.
They set eyes upon the Hulk, who also sets eyes upon them. They should probably use their bear experience and try to make themselves look big while backing away and banging pots.
Yeah.
But fools that they are, they don't. Frankly, that might work. Because a lot of the time, Hulk is just confused.
Yeah.
Okay.
As he is kind of now,
And
frankly.
now you're challenging the Hulk. You do know they don't. They're Canadian. They don't know better. Oh, no.
Hulk no understand why men wear funny hats.
As you noted, instead, the sergeant orders the Hulk to turn himself into the authorities. I can't believe no one's ever tried that before.
I'm sure it'll go great.
The Canadians, they're trying the polite approach, I guess.
Hulk wanna see the ponies.
They watch in tense silence, weapons drawn as they wait to hear the Hulk's reaction. Well, now that the Hulk has been asked nicely, he peacefully walks over to turn himself in. Hulk doesn't know what the fuck a Mountie is, but he does know what a gun is, and the Mounties have their guns aimed at him, so he's pissed off.
Of course he is. He's the Hulk.
He rips up the very earth beneath the Mounties, but mostly just leaves it there to stomp back off into the woods. Even as the Mounties have now opened fire at the Hulk, but they don't give chase, because I think the opening fire was really just for bravado.
They realized
Yeah.
he's outmatched them.
Yep.
If the U.S. Army can't take this thing...
Maybe a small band of Mounties is not.
At least they left the ponies out of this.
Now that we're back in the peaceful countryside, Hulk can get back to his thoughts. It seems he came up here trying to find Betty Ross, who apparently in the past 11 issues has gotten married.
Oh.
Wow, that was... Yeah, I guess.
Alright.
I would say congrats, but I reckon Hulk probably finds this to be a little bit of a bummer.
Yeah.
Before he got the chance, though, General Thunderbolt Ross got back on his case again, so I guess the whole congressional hearing thing didn't end up working out in the Jolly Green Giant's favor.
Of course not. Nothing ever works out for him. That's kind of his problem.
He decided to take a break from his search to let the heat die down a little bit, but he would like to leave Canada now. The problem with that being that he is now incredibly lost.
Fantastic.
Leaving him
I love this whole comic.
Leaving him hopelessly lost somewhere between Ottawa and Montreal and not too far from a secluded border crossing.
And we do turn to that border crossing, where Hank McCoy and Vera are waiting to cross the border and save the world.
Oh yeah! Canada or bust.
Why is she blonde now?
I don't know. Unfortunately, the head border security man gets the call that the Hulk is on a rampage and he closes down the border. You can't go sending people into harm's way, and they're about to cross a bridge which could be destroyed, plus a Hulk attack would be extremely distracting for when you're just trying to seize people's pepper spray, for fuck's sake! I'm not bitter or anything!
You know, this was when it was a very open border, too. They really didn't care.
This is very unwelcome news to Hank and Vera, still several cars back. Between whatever left them stranded on the way to Rutland and the diversion of the Juggernaut, they're seriously behind on time. And Vera is freaking out, though she still hasn't told Hank exactly what they're on their way to do other than save the world. They have to cross the border now. Well, far be it from Hank to leave the lady wanting, so he gives her a Vulcan nerve pinch, takes off his man's suit, gets out of the car, hauls Vera over his shoulder, and menaces the border guards.
What the fuck, Hank?
Okay, first, Hank can do that. He can just Vulcan nerve pinch someone weirdly. How?
We're talking last issue about Glennis feeling like Fay Ray while the Beast has got Vera over his fucking shoulder.
Right?
And I'm sure the guards here are going to be very cool with this.
Well, he bounces
They're
off.
green Mounties.
It actually works out because he bounces off past the guards, uttering a threat to Vera's life should they try to follow, but none of the border guards have a bank shot in them, I'm afraid.
Did they not notice that one of these cars now no longer has people in it?
Right? Well, they do actually address that, but it's not very well addressed. Hank at least got a little bit of amusement out of leaving the guards confused about such verbosity out of the mouth of what seemed to be a savage monster. You have to get your fun where you can, he says, and I heartily agree. But what about the car, you ask, as you indeed did? Surely they can figure out who they are by the car. Apparently they bought it off an old farmer who probably couldn't remember them. I don't know enough about how car registration worked in the 70s to dispute that that's how that works, but it feels absurd that the state would not know who they are.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, the farmer might give them something.
Right. Maybe this was not a strictly legal sale. I'm stretching here, truly. But Vera is beginning to awaken, so Hank puts his man suit back on.
How did he carry it?
That's what I was wondering.
Where did he put it?
Shoved
Maybe
it
he
into
put
his
it-
panties.
Put it into Vera's purse or something.
Which she doesn't
Which he
have.
doesn't have.
It's fine, it's fine.
He did put his, not just his skin suit, but his suit.
Vera is understandably confused, and Hank babbles something about a rum runner's trick so dangerous he had to knock her out. With such important stakes, Vera is willing to just roll her eyes and get back underway, following the roads. Meanwhile, our green friend is not having a good time. He feels himself weakening. Upset that he may be reverting back to puny Banner, Hulk gets to his feet to smash a nearby tree, but even with all of his strength, he isn't able to fell it.
Tree, don't break!
Something is wrong. He quickly realizes that he isn't turning back after all, but he is still weakening. He notices that he feels weaker as he travels in a certain direction, so that must be where the thing hurting Hulk is coming from.
Oh no, is he being morbed?
You know how well Hulk takes to being hurt. I don't know if he's being morbed, but he's not happy. So he immediately sets off in that direction to smash the cause of his distress.
What do you think would happen to Morbius if he morbed the Hulk?
I think Morbius...
I think Morbius would be deceased.
I was gonna say...
He would then no longer be the living vampire.
He'd be the dead vampire.
He would be the vampire who they've had to peel off that wall.
When we return to Hank and Vera, they've made progress on their journey. In fact, the cabin they're looking for is within sight. They just have to get there. A cautious Vera signals over to the cabin, waiting for a response that it's safe to come before her anxiety is assuaged. When they make it there, they meet up with Mimic. Pleased to see both of them.
Huh.
Hank has a brief moment of uncertainty. He gets why Mimic would be dealing with Vera. If you recall, Cal wanted to date Vera from the word go. But then he also knows Hank in both his secret and public identity. He could spill the beans, but he doesn't. He does need Hank, after all, but I mean, if I recall, he did also learn the value of friendship or selflessness or some happy horse shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then, if Cal starts mimicking him, all of the silence in the world isn't going to keep the genie in that bottle. Finally, we start to get some answers. Calvin starts off where we already were, explaining that just like the first time he regained his powers and lost them, that's something that's kept happening with him. But with each reoccurrence, he's gotten stronger and stronger, to the point that now, unless he's consciously fighting the change, his mimicry is even sapping the power of regular people until they can't maintain their life functions, which isn't really how Mimic's power worked before.
Secondary mutation!
He wasn't a power leech. It's what it says on the tin. He's a mimic, but we're gonna roll with this.
He's not a mutant, John.
No, he's not. He's a mutate. Well, we'll leave it.
You don't remember anything about Mimic?
Hey, we just watched a cartoon with him in
it's
it.
Not Mimic, that's Morph, that's a different guy.
God damn it. Hey, look, they all kind of blend together, these people who don't matter.
It doesn't help that they both have names that start with M.
No, it doesn't.
Whatever.
Similar, kind of.
And similar power sets?
Well, it seems that Vera was the one who used her brain to figure out what to do, because Cal's not exactly a mental giant, if we recall. She brought him up away from where he could hurt anyone to the wild wilderness of Quebec, while she went to find Hank, knowing that Calvin's strength was only increasing, along with his range, and at the rate it's growing, soon everyone on the planet will die. First, it manifests as weakness, feeling as if you're sick. Ominously, we turn to the Hulk as he struggles in his journey under the burden of his decreased strength.
Ruh-roh.
He can thoom no more, instead only chuming as he falls to the ground. And then something we don't get to see happen often happens. The Hulk is scared. This is something he can't fight. And can he fight anymore to begin with? Hulk can't even break lousy rock!
Hulk is weak.
Meanwhile, back south of the border, General Ross is mad.
Wait. This isn't a Hulk issue.
It is a Hulk issue.
This is a numbered Hulk issue?
We're reading The Incredible Hulk.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, they could kill Hulk in an Incredible Hulk issue.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck.
Yep, General Ross is mad. He wants permission to just go up into Canada and get the bastard.
Oh yeah, that's gonna happen.
But the fucking Canadians, with their sovereignty and borders, won't just let him go up there and deal with it?
Hey, for the record, we built radar up there. He probably doesn't need permission.
They've got their own military, eh? Why don't you Yanks just go back to your McDonald's and we'll sort this one out? It seems things haven't gotten less dramatic in the Hulk book. I'm just going to read these thought bubbles verbatim. When he's asked to remain stateside, General Ross thinks, well, that monster and my daughter are both somewhere in that country. Talbot's supposed to keep her under wraps as long as he can, but how long is that? If she finds out the Hulk's alive before I can capture him, her whole marriage will go up in smoke. So that's a lot.
That marriage is going real good if that's the only thing keeping it together.
No kidding. Away from that, Hulk continues on his journey to the source of his problems. He'll show problem. Hulk is biggest problem there is!
I mean, that's true. He really is the biggest problem there is.
Well, there was a mountain in his way, so now he's climbed the mountain, and he looks down on the house that is the source of his weakness. And after feeling dizzy, he just crashes down on the damn thing, shattering it with the force of his falling body.
Oh my god.
Kabloom.
Kablam, in fact. There's only one O.
True. There is only one.
The Hulk crashes even through the floor of the cabin into the basement, where Hank McCoy is hard at work, helping Cal get his powers back under control. He also knocks Vera out when he falls down. Hank tries to ward the Hulk off, doing his best to explain, but Hulk doesn't care, swatting McCoy aside to get to Cal.
Well, he still is strong.
I guess he just instinctively knows that Cal is the source of his pain. Maybe he feels it emanating off him. Maybe he's just guessing because Cal is for some reason wearing his fucking super suit.
I mean, that actually feels like a weird Hulk thing to me.
Yeah. Either way, the Hulk's gonna smash him. Well, since Vera got conveniently knocked out, it's no trouble for Hank to strip off his man-suit and jump on the Hulk's back. With the Hulk's weakened strength, Beast isn't immediately smashed flat, but it's still a hell of a challenge to fight him. Still, leaning into his acrobatic prowess, he's doing pretty well at getting around the Hulk's strength. And that's where he makes his mistake, boasting that he may even be better than the Hulk.
Nobody better than Hulk. Hulk's strongest there is.
Exactly. If you know one thing about the Hulk, it's Hulk smash. If you know two things about the Hulk, Hulk is strongest there is.
I would not try to be stronger than Hulk.
He's very defensive about the fact that he is the strongest there is.
Sure.
And Beast is no longer winning this fight. Luckily, he's not alone, as Cal has freed himself from his restraints and come to his friend's aid. He rushes at the Hulk, grabbing hold tight and not letting go. He's come to a conclusion, you see. Hank can't guarantee he'll save him anyways, and the consequence of failure is the death of all humanity. Even the Hulk is dying under his powers. If someone as strong as the Hulk can be affected, he can't stomach the consequences. And so, once more, Calvin makes the noble choice for the second time in his life. He lets down his guard and begins to absorb the Hulk's power until he can take no more.
That's a mistake.
And the Hulk's power is gamma radiation, but a normal man can't bear that. When Cal releases the Hulk, he falls to the floor. Beast rushes to his side, calling his name, hoping he's all right, but with his last words, Calvin ribs Hank about how, "You're not supposed to yell at the man who saved the war." And then Rankin is no more. Hulk too departs the cabin, leaving Hank alone to have to explain to Vera about what happened to her boyfriend. And that's it for us tonight on the comics front. What do you say, guys? How would you rate these? Start with the X-Men versus Morbius.
I'm sorry, I'm still reeling from this.
Bad. I'm rating it bad.
I would rate it Morbs out of 10.
Give me something more clear.
Bad.
2 out of 5.
All right.
Bad.
Okay. I'm gonna sit at about a 2.5 out of 5. All right, the Marvel Bullpen versus a shitty Halloween party.
1 out of 5.
0.
1 out of 5. What about the Mimic versus Mortality?
Honestly,
4 out of 5.
this was actually... I've read, apparently, the most Hulk out of any of you, and Hulk is a tragedy. He's a walking tragedy. I may not know what the heck is happening a lot of the time, but this is kind of the way things go for him.
Yeah, I thought it was good too. I'm at about a 4 out of 5 on
Yeah,
that.
so, good.
So that's it for comics, but despite this supersized episode, we still have more to talk about. We have Ms. Marvel.
Oh, yes.
So John is the biggest Miss Marvel fan. We all love Miss Marvel, but John is the biggest fan out of all three of us.
It's the thing that got me to read more comics.
So they came prepared with a list of talking points.
Yeah, they came with notes.
So from this point on, spoiler for first episode of Miss Marvel.
Yes.
And by the way, if you want, just go watch it. It's good. Before we even get to the thing itself, we need to address one of the elephants in the room.
Okay. What's its name?
The review bombing. Miss Marvel has brought out an ugly aspect of people who care about MCU things.
Shocking.
Yeah.
You mean comic book fans would purposefully harass and review bomb stuff? I can't
comic
believe
book
that.
fans would just go online and tell lies.
I can't believe that.
It's a whole thing. People are writing news articles about it. It's
It's a mess.
Yeah. So, skipping that, cringe!
Okay.
Or authenticity about a 16-year-old girl.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes. It's important because that's not really something Marvel has tried.
Cringe?
No.
Because I think they've tried cringe.
Authenticity about the perspective of a 16-year-old girl.
Yeah. I do like when they try and do some shit with that. All my complaints about the Spider-Man movies, I do like that when they make him a kid, he's just a kid. And even more so with Kamala.
And we get to see her inner world.
Yep.
I thought a lot of the, like, visual theming was really cool and cute.
It was.
It was very cute.
Especially the texting.
Yes.
The texting. Oh, God. The texting. I don't think I've seen anything quite like that.
I don't remember specifically what you're talking about.
No.
When Kamala and Bruno are texting each other, the way it's represented on the buildings.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. That was really cool.
Speaking of Bruno is not who I envisioned playing Bruno. I wanted a soft boy, but he does very well with the role.
Yeah, he's doing alright.
I mean, I have some more complicated notes about him, but the thing is,
to be a soft boy.
This is a story about you.
About me?
Yes, actually, about you. Avengers Con.
Gee golly gosh.
Now, what did you guys do when I had to be out of town? You went to Motor City Comic Con.
Yeah.
I know you're jealous, John.
No, actually, yes, but that's not the point. The point is, the major events happen at a convention, and it represents the fandom. People don't necessarily like seeing fandom portrayed externally, but ooh, that felt honest.
I liked saying it.
And
I liked it. Marvel has a history of doing that too, and they don't usually do it in a bad way.
And but they also don't tend to focus too heavily on it.
Right.
This leaned on it, and considering
well, it's Kamala.
She's the one.
Yes.
She's the one to do that for. Which led to local girl wins cosplay contest with actual powers. So she cheated.
Yeah, a little bit.
She definitely cheated.
It wasn't on purpose.
No.
I don't think it really counts as cheating.
And I mean, she did all of that, and she went home. Well, she wasn't supposed to be there in the first place. Her brother convinced their parents to let her go if her dad took her
And
dressed as
the Hulk.
It was so cute.
It was adorable.
I love Abu, even in the comics. He's so good.
He's so good.
In the Marvel Avengers video game, he's also really good.
I liked her brother even more than I like him in the comics.
Some of the character choices do confuse me a little.
What?
But they feel more like family though than they feel
do.
in the
Yeah,
comics.
it's
The
just,
brother and sister thing.
Well, it's just the brother in the comics is
A bit much.
yes.
He's a lot.
Yes, he is, and they did not go with that.
Well, they still make clear that he's very religious.
Yeah,
and I appreciate that, but he's still willing to kind of go to bat for his little sister.
Which I don't really think the brother in
the comics would do.
would've.
Yeah, not in that way.
And
But I think it's a welcome change, at least to me.
Yeah.
and then there's the matter of Bruno. And here's the thing: where was Nakia?
We saw her briefly.
Yeah, twice.
Yeah.
Her
Well,
best
She
friend.
may get her time to shine down the
True,
line.
that's one of the things. This is a first episode, and you're focused on a convention, and as anyone who's gone to a convention knows, that is all that matters leading up to the convention. So
I think that really getting in deep with anything with Nakia would really distract from the plot of the episode.
it would, and we will see where that goes. Early Miss Marvel is a bit more of a romance than more recent issues have been. It's a bit of a tragedy of a romance, but
Yeah.
the romantic elements are there, so...
It's a more honest teen romance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where it doesn't always work out.
Yes.
Yes. I still wish Bruno was a soft boy.
Yeah. I liked that Kamala was envisioning him dressed up as Tony and then he came as Bruce.
Although, it does feel like her parents are almost swapped personality-wise.
Disagree.
No.
I don't know.
No, you get that impression in the comics too, that her mom is way more uptight.
Yeah, that's how I read it too.
Well, I can tell you one thing. No Inhumans here.
No.
This is a funny thing. In the comic, she really did go to a party.
Yep.
She did.
That is really funny,
I did
right?
actually
Yeah.
think that was kind of hilarious. She went to a party, and the Inhumans here are about as important as the
They
agents
fart
of
gassed
S.H.I.E.L.D.
the world and
They're as
she got stuck in a
they're-
cocoon.
In the MCU, they're about as important as the agents
Only
of S.H.I.E.L.D.
for like, she only got stuck in a cocoon for like a couple minutes though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is
Which
actually...
compared to other people who got stuck in the cocoon is really
Pretty short.
Weirdly
Very
short,
short.
even. Like, that's kind of a record shortness. Okay, so I get dipping the Inhumans. They don't matter here. They matter in an alternate universe because Blackguard Boltaton exists.
You can't say his name right.
I don't care. Does it matter?
We've already seen MCU Black Bolt. You have to respect that he's Blackagar Boltagon. What if we just got his name wrong every time, like Benedict Cumberbatch?
Perfect.
I want you to know I am honestly trying to say it, and I have no idea how. I'm proud of that. I take pride in not knowing how to say his name.
Yet you still try.
Yes. But the thing is, without that, well, how does she have powers? A bracelet. I sure hope that's not a MacGuffin. Please don't be a MacGuffin. That's all I ask. Don't be a MacGuffin, and we're cool. Also, Miss Marvel doesn't really have villains. Okay, that's not true. There are the Canadian ninjas who stalk New Jersey.
What about,
Fascist pants.
You mean the person Captain Marvel set up as one of her personal goons?
Yeah,
for
fascist
her?
pants.
Yes. Or actual fucking Nazis. But, I mean, that's the thing. She doesn't really have...
Thomas Edison?
the bird.
The bird.
The bird.
That's who I was thinking
But
of.
he gets killed pretty early.
Mm.
That's the thing. She doesn't have...
She doesn't have a rogues gallery.
Yes. She doesn't have a rogues gallery like, say, Spider-Man does. Also, she's well loved by New Jersey in the comics. Unlike Spider-Man. I think even the cops like her.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, like, there's no... Well, I guess when there's no Jonah Jameson saying how terrible you are...
But there's also not as many fucking superheroes running around Jersey City. Maybe you need
Right.
her a little more.
True. Everyone's always focused on Manhattan.
He can't be like,
Or-
can we get Captain America here to deal with this and not Spider-Man? It's pretty much just Ms. Marvel.
Yeah. Nobody cares about Jersey City, but Miss Marvel cares.
Yep.
She'll even help the mayor fight Nazis. Yeah, she's fought Hydra a surprising number of times in the comics.
Good for her.
Good. I think she should.
But who is she going to fight in this thing?
Well, wait and see.
Yeah, one episode. There's potential. It could be great. It's got style.
Yeah.
It's got potential.
It's cute.
It's cute. It's, so far, entertaining. One episode. Can't say much more than that.
I want to see more.
I also want to see more. And I anxiously await more episodes. And that about covers it. I mean, it's one episode. It's less than an hour. It doesn't end anything. What do you want?
Yep. We have had a extra super long, supersized episode. So, we're going to wrap things up quick. Just hit the bullet points. Email us, comicsplaining@gmail.com. Social media, Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, Comicsplaining, all those places. Patreon, if you want to join us. Early access to the show, higher tiers, higher rewards. If you'd like to donate to our coffee, we have that too. If you want to see the picture of the Hulk crashing down onto the house, watch our YouTube. If you want to see Steve Englehart's male pattern baldness,
Yeah.
God.
watch our video version of the show over on YouTube, put up weekly. Join us over on Discord, and I think that is it. We're going to be back with you next week with a hopefully shorter episode than this one. We just had a lot to talk about between Pride and the issues and Ms. Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So, we look forward to talking to you next week with Thor. Bye!
Bye.